Vengeful ghosts. My late parents, my late wife, the two people who taught me who killed themselves, and a man who had to die, who I never met, in order that I should live. I will explain how that came to be. The thing about vengeance is that it's exacted against the innocent as much as the guilty. It's indiscriminate. That's why in terrorism it's necessary that innocents should die, because it isn't about justice. It isn't about punishing the wicked or the ungodly or anything like that. Innocents have to suffer. And I'm not saying that I'm particularly innocent, because I'm not. But I don't think that I deserved the kind of punishment I've received from these particular vengeful ghosts. They still appear in my dreams. They are part of me. They have made me what I am. And as I've said several times before, everything that has happened in my life is for a reason, that I should become the person that I am. The person who is asking these questions, the question about existence, the question about why there is anything, why there is I, why am I here? I'm not the only person who has ever asked those questions, but I find myself almost alone in the middle of a desert. And occasionally I get, reminded that, other people have seen it too. But I've just continued asking the same questions over and over and not receiving an answer. And those vengeful ghosts, they continue to drive me on. Vengeful ghosts of my parents and my late wife. I respect you, but I no longer feel any love for you. I'm glad you are gone. Glad for you as well as for myself. Your existence must have been a burden to you towards the end. Well, most of those living don't know how they're going to die. It's time for a reckoning. With those who are no longer here, it's something I have to do. Call it survivor guilt, if you like. I haven't forgotten what this book is supposed to be about. The question, the wonder, the cosmic stop sign. But there are some things I need to work through before we get back to that. And it is important because I'm trying to get you to see what I see. The truth is down there. It is in me, in my soul, just as Plato said. Quote, "Am I in the universe, or is the universe in me? The universe made me. The universe left its imprint on me. The truth of the universe is in me." Unquote. Philosophizer, know thyself. Without doubt, these ghosts are part of me. They have wormed their way deep into my brain. I didn't ask for them to be here. I didn't want them to be here. But that's the thing with ghosts. There's no known defense apart from amnesia, and perhaps not even then. Jerry. I remember an essay I once wrote for you. I think the topic was moral education. It was hastily written, in a kind of parody of an academic essay, generously larded with all the stock phrases, superficial claptrap. I usually took great care with my essays, but not this one. I don't know why. Maybe I just had too much on my plate that particular term. When you handed my essay back to me, your laconic comment was, "You will do very well." I felt ashamed, but I kept the feeling to myself. From that moment on, so far as you were concerned, I was one of them. Ian, what happened to you? During the 2 years our time overlapped at Birkbeck College, I never caught any real sense that there was a problem. There was that one time when you made a whole song and dance in the middle of a class on Frege's theory of sense and reference, just because I'd seen a point that you missed. But I always thought that that showed you in a positive light, modest, self-deprecating to a fault. Now that incident takes on a different colouring. You were running scared, constantly afraid of failure and humiliation, and the obstacles that lay in wait to trip you up around the next corner. To succeed, you have to dream of failure, and Ian dreamt of failure more than the average person. The scariest ghost of all is of someone I have never met. I got to hear little bits and pieces of information about you over the years, but it was a long time before I got hold of the critical piece of the jigsaw. On the 27th of October 1944, Max Mann, a Czech citizen serving with the RAF, was killed in an accident with a hand grenade while working in a munitions store. The letter of commendation received by his wife Edith stated that her husband had thrown himself on top of the grenade in order to save the lives of his comrades, an act of heroic self-sacrifice. The truth about the freak accident will never be known. It was customary in those times for war fatalities to be described as heroic when they were anything but. Men were run over by their own tanks or armoured cars, or killed by friendly fire. They fell to their deaths from loading cranes, died in full flight from the enemy, or shot themselves with their own rifles because they were too depressed by the horrors they had witnessed to carry on living. 2 years after the end of the Second World War, Edith Mann met my father, Paul Klempner, at a party for European refugees in London. As I heard the story, an enthusiastic matchmaker put them together. They married 2 weeks later. In 1951 I was born. Each of us owes our existence to a myriad of more or less improbable circumstances, but I owe a special debt of gratitude to whoever pulled the pin from that hand grenade. But for the untimely death of Max Mann, I would not be here now, writing these words. Maybe the lads were larking about, or playing some grim version of Russian roulette. It could have been murder, or suicide, or plain stupidity. A war worker momentarily losing her concentration on the hand grenade assembly line. Just another stupid, freakish, pointless death. What would Max Mann think if he could be here now? Could he take comfort? Can his ghost take comfort in the fact that something good came about as a consequence of his misfortune? Would Edith have been happier with Max? Possibly. It has got to be a bad idea to marry someone you've known for only 2 weeks. Talk about Las Vegas weddings. No one will ever know, but I can take an informed guess. From my painful experience of family life, it surely could have not been less happy. Life is random. There is no such thing as destiny. My birthday, as I write this, is in 2 days' time. I told my sister I wasn't going to open her birthday card until I'd made it to 68. Maybe I will have finished the book by then. I'm not going to force it. See what comes. Vengeful ghosts. I try to imagine how things might have been different. Friendly ghosts, if there is such a thing. Beneficent spirits encouraging me to carry on. But when I try to picture your faces, they are sorrowful, or blank, expressionless. I can make you smile, the way I pressed my mother's cold lips into a smile as she lay on her deathbed. How peaceful she looks, the mourners commented. But the smile doesn't last. As the smile fades, anxiety, resentment, disappointment take their place. Is there something wrong with me? Could there be? Was my wife right when she said, only a couple of months before the end, you don't love anyone but yourself. That kind of thing sticks with you. I can understand how she felt. I had fallen out of love with her by that time. In revenge, she left me with words that will echo in my mind until my dying day. My parents loved me. Why can I not reciprocate? I want to get to the truth, no matter how painful. I may be a friend to sophists, but I have as much right to talk about truth as anyone. It is true that lies imprison you. I have felt it, and I know. Lying to yourself is the worst kind of lying. I suspect that my talent for obfuscation knows no bounds. Like peeling an onion, there's always another layer. It's only a suspicion, mind you. Everything that has happened in my life is for a reason, that I should become the person that I am. Philosophizer. Strange how that mantra takes on a different shade of meaning each time I revisit it. Well, there's only 4 chapters to go now. Just free to philosophize. A starship made of words. That's when I talk about the one friendly ghost, Rachel Brown. Maybe that makes up for all the others. Salvation and Fool's Hope. Those are the last chapters. This is not about me, but it is necessary for me to look at myself, to really look hard, look very hard, because whatever explains why I am obsessed with the questions that I'm obsessed with has got something to do with my personal history. And I am driven by forces that I do not fully understand. And I absolutely reject the idea that's been touted by psychoanalysts that you've got to become conscious of your unconscious. You've got to make it all out. Understand all the forces that move you. That is not something that I want to do. I've said 100 times I want to be motivated. I don't care too much where the motivation comes from. Yesterday I found myself playing one of my favourite video games, Alien vs Predator, the original version, the 1999. One of the most starkest horror first-person shooters. The aliens come at you so fast you wouldn't believe. Well, why did I suddenly want to do that? Why were aliens on my mind? It's to do with one's perception of the monstrous. The monster in you, the monster in me. That unknown something that's bursting to come out. And very vividly in the first Alien movie, bursts out of this guy's chest. You're ready to burst. But I need to understand, because none of that psychoanalytic lark is going to explain why I ask the questions that I've asked. Because they're real questions. You can't get away from them. So, but I'm going to look as hard as I can. I need to understand, as I said, I need to understand why. Why me? Why am I the one to be asking these, doing this, making this video, writing this book? I mean, I'm not the only person in the world who's asked those questions, but you'll have to look a long way to find anything that's even resembling what I've written here. I just don't know why. I don't know. And it started 40 years ago. It's not like some newfangled thing. 40 years ago, I was a young man. And I called it then the ego illusion. It had to be an illusion. It couldn't be real. This sense that your existence is something that could not be explained by the world. Because the world could be the same and you wouldn't be here. How is that possible? But I've got to live. I've got to find a way to live. I said I can't go into a dark mope about this. I can't spend my time constantly focusing on these dark thoughts. I have to reconcile myself. And this is part of the process, what I'm doing now. I just want to thank you for coming with me, coming this far. And I hope you will stay with me till the end of this book, because there's only, as I said, only another 4 videos to go. Thanks, and bye.